above all, happy Thanksgiving. It's great to have you in the studio this morning. We are live every Thursday morning. This morning is November 23rd. Yeah, that's right. Gosh, I've been up too late making turkey. And it is our Thanksgiving special. We have a great hour ahead of us. Later on, we'll be talking with Metro Parks, as you saw in the wide shot. They are here to talk about poinsettias or poinsettias. You can say it either way. So we'll talk about that in your home and also in the conservatory and what you need to know to keep them beautiful. Jake is here from LeMay, America's Car Museum. He's here to talk about what they have during the holidays. You don't want to miss that segment. And then Tony Gomez and Mari Griffin are here with Tacoma Arts Live to talk about some amazing things that are happening during the holidays. You don't want to miss this. Let me give you a hint. Tacoma Black Night Market. All right. And then with me right now is an individual who is here to talk about STEP. Yep, S-T-E-P. We're going to find out what that is. Please join me in welcoming Tony Teravainen. You are the CEO and co-founder of STEP. Welcome to CityLine.
Thank you, man. I'm happy to be here.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy birthday as well to me. Happy birthday today.
It's your... Okay, what did you have for breakfast? Did you have cake and candles and everything for breakfast?
Just a regular breakfast.
Just a regular breakfast. So speaking of this, if you had to tell us what your favorite Thanksgiving pie is, what is it?
I would choose apple pie.
Very all-American of you. So
course.
now I have to ask the other question. With or without ice cream, a la mode or non-a la mode?
If you're going to do it, you might as well do it, right?
Go bigger.
Don't do anything halfway. Ice cream for sure.
There we go. I love that. So Tony, tell us about STEP. What is it?
Yeah. Well, STEP is Support the Enlisted Project, and it's a nonprofit that I worked to create about 11 years ago. And we specifically wanted to help young military families and transitioning veterans when they get into a financial crisis, and we knew it was the right thing to do to help them. But what we wanted to do was try to take that to the next level and make it so that this financial crisis was their last financial crisis. So we created a program based around created a behavioral intervention to help these families work with them specifically to change their financial behaviors to help them move to a lifetime of financial self-sufficiency.
Wow. Okay, I got to just say this. I'm gobsmacked. You have cracked the family curse nut, because many of us don't grow up knowing how to live within a budget, save for the future, afford anything that we think we want for our life, because we didn't get that kind of financial training. So to get it as an adult is just in time. Thank you for that. That's impressive. So share more with me about the Emergency Financial Assistance Program. How does that work? How long does it take? And who qualifies?
So the Emergency Financial Assistance Program is our financial counseling program, and it's really the one thing we do at STEP. Everything else is kind of how we build relationships. We designed this program to be to work with other members of the community. We don't want to be the 800-pound gorilla. What we want to do is be that backstop to them. We serve about 1% of America's lower 6 pay grades, so it's a smaller number of folks. Last year, there's 1,150 families we moved through the program.
Wow.
And the family's going to come to us in imminent loss of a basic necessity, and they're going to ask for help. They're going to say, can you help me? You know, I have an eviction notice, I have a 3-day pay or quit, the tow truck's trying to take my car, the repossession is happening, and this is really their moment of change. And what we want to do is, the way we created the program was brought 5 social work modalities into this program, and we laid it across the change management platform, which is a system designed to help people change their behaviors over time.
Right.
And each family will come in and they're going to talk to a financial counselor. You know, they don't know this person has a master's degree in social work and has been in the field for 10 years. They don't know that we've sent them off to become certified financial counselors and also financial social worker certifications. And they also come from a military background themselves. So they understand kind of these big things on the end. And now, since they're comfortable with that, they can spend the 90% of the time in the middle just talking about behaviors, helping people describe what they want their financial future to look like, empowering them that they could actually achieve that. And then once they really get on the top of that change mountain, where it's like, yes, I'm going to do this with your help.
I can see,
right?
Yes.
And then it's like, okay, now let's bring some education pieces into it and help them create a path to a financial future, and then help them continue to create the behaviors and then institutionalize those behaviors as they move forward.
Yes. Oh, where were you when my dad was coming home from the Vietnam War? I was a military Air Force brat, and let me tell you something. Every time my dad went someplace, or we moved, or even when he retired from the military, it shook our family financially. It was difficult. When you're used to having everything taken care of for you, then suddenly, hi, you're out, here's a couple days of programming, and now you got to find a job on your own, and you got to feed your family now, and not at the commissary.
Right.
So this is an incredible gift. You mentioned, when I asked you how people qualified, you said missing a basic or necessitary need.
Yeah, imminent loss of a basic necessity is how we
What
define
would that be? Give me an example of that.
They have, essentially they're in a process to lose one of their basic necessities. So they'll come to us with an eviction pending, or somewhere in that eviction process.
Or apartment.
Yeah, repossessions, disconnections, so utility disconnections, loss of transportation, and many times is obviously very critical.
Yes.
Loss of housing, loss of food. And then we have kind of an other section for things like a bereavement travel, or potentially, a major appliance that you can't do without, or some other thing. Our number one core value at STEP is to do what's right. And each of these cases come in, and they're very complex situations. It took, a long time for these families to get there. And if there was a simple solution, we could just wiggle our nose and be done. So peeling back that, we need to look at this. If we're going to help you with your car bill, we're also going to make sure that it's insured. We're also going to make sure it's registered. What other issues we can handle this holistically and help you create a solution to your financial future that works for you.
God, you guys are crystal ball people. So in addition to all of the beautiful wraparound services and life skills that you give these families, how is STEP funded? So where do you get the money to give them the money?
Right. So the basic principle of that is STEP's just the conduit between the community that cares and wants to take care of these military families, and then the military families themselves.
Okay.
So we're in the middle. Our first tenet when we created STEP was we never want to take any money from the military families. I go meet all the base commanders and garrison commanders, and their question is, what's in it for you? And there's nothing in it for me. I have no ability to take any money from a military family. We have the ability to help them pay their bills, but it's always in the form of a grant. I can't make a loan. So I can pay their landlord, I can stop the eviction, I can get the car back out of the repo yard, I can turn the electricity back on. I can do that, but that's not incurring any debt on behalf of the military family. And the other thing that we see is we're not an extension of the government. So we don't have a fee-for-service program.
Okay.
We don't receive federal or state funding because it just often gets very complex, and a lot of people want to tell us how to do what we're doing.
Absolutely.
And we have to be very nimble, and none of that really works for us at this point. So we're completely community funded. About half of our funding comes from foundations, and the other half comes from a mix of individuals, corporations, and other nonprofits that want to support our work.
Boy, that is fantastic. I mean, to see that you are self-funded, I mean, that just it bodes well for all that you teach in the sense of financial responsibility. So this is a huge question, and we could do an hour on this question. I could give you an hour answer from being a military brat. Why is this so important to our Tacoma community? I know it's big.
Yeah, no, it is a big question. And like you, I grew up in an Air Force family.
There we go.
And we moved around the world with my dad, and he retired. And it took him, he was the most capable person I'd ever known, and it took him a long time to find a job. And it was interesting watching that transition. And I started in college and didn't finish, and I ended up enlisting in the Navy and becoming a submariner. And after about 8.5 years, that was kind of abruptly taken away due to some medical conditions that had developed. And then I was just out, and I had to go through that transition. And the military folks are used to operating in an environment that they're comfortable. They become comfortable in this military environment. And all that happens when they transition out of the military is just a new environment. I liken it to them moving to a different English-speaking country. It's like you can read the signs and you can communicate with people, but you just don't quite get everything. And they're just used to a different culture. They're used to somewhere where they have usually a lot more responsibility. They're highly trained in what they're doing, and they're working on these high-performing teams. And then when they get out of the military, it's very different. So these cultures are important for them to understand as they transition out. that it's going to take a while, and this is why we want to help these veterans transition back into the space. The military members, like you said, most Americans don't have great financial habits.
No.
3 out of 5 Americans spend their entire paycheck or more. Half of all Americans can't come up with $400. And then, and a person will create their financial skills. They'll learn their financial skills between the ages of 9 and 13 is really where they pick that up at.
Oh my goodness.
So then, from this pool of people every year, 150, 200,000 of them 18 to 24-year-olds join the military. And then we rip them out of their home environment, which is really the system that's kept them going.
Right.
You're going to continue to move them around the country every 2 or 3 years. Puts the spouse in a 50% unemployment, underemployment rate. You're going to deploy that service member up to a third of the time. So if you're going back and forth between a 1 and 2 parent household.
Oh.
A lot of the service members, the lower service members, with this high unemployment or underemployment rate, that locks that family into this low income wage by HUD standards that a lot of the junior service members earn. And then that service member is going to work every day in the nation's 3rd most deadly occupation.
Yes.
And on top of that, you're going to make their security clearance contingent upon good financial habits.
Oh my.
So you're taking somebody with average financial habits, which are not great, and putting him in a situation with higher family stress, right, higher work stress, and higher financial stress.
My goodness.
And tying their job success to it. So it's important that we do this. These folks have volunteered to take this life of service to protect us during whatever period they're going to do it for their life. And my military service and coming back around to it, I wanted to find a way to help these families have a better experience while they're in the military and maximize that return on investment from what we work with them on and what they work on.
Absolutely. I see that STEP recently received a tremendous national honor, the Spirit of Hope Award. Tell me about that. How did that happen and what does it mean?
Well, as we've worked to create STEP, we've won a lot of awards, and they've come in over time, and it's very affirming to get those, and it feels good. I mean, obviously we don't do it for the awards. We do it to help the families, and that's what really drives us. But to see it being recognized is really fantastic.
Look at this. What a great shot.
Yeah, so I was invited out to the Pentagon, and I was in the Hall of Heroes, where they award a lot of awards, including the Medal of Honor. And yeah, the Secretary of Defense awarded us the Spirit of Hope Award. And so it's only a few agencies have received that.
That's
through the
impressive.
years. And somebody, as small and young and nimble as STEP, but we were nominated by Naval Base Point Loma in San Diego, and then our nomination carried all the way up through.
Boy, and if that isn't a nomination from a military base that just knows how it's going on, you've got it. So how can we, the people and businesses here in Tacoma, help support STEP's important work?
Yes, I mean, STEP has been grown by its community for all of our years. So the first thing we always look for is advocacy and support.
Yep.
And we need people out there helping us grow in the community. And there's a lot of people out there that are looking to support something like STEP.
Yes.
So the more folks that we can meet and have that discussion with and see how that matches with what they want to do, whether it's volunteering, whether it's helping us collect items for military families that we can distribute and build relationships there, or that can donate and fund the program.
All right.
Those are always welcome as well.
You are always welcome on the comfy couch. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this quick break with more CityLine.